Good morning and thank you for joining us on Thriving on the Suncoast. And a very happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. We hope you get to spend lots of quality time with your family. In case you're still in need of a unique gift idea or want to do something a little extra special for mom, why not consider giving her a home care assistant, a cheerful comfort keeper who can come in and help around the house or provide some transportation and assistance, or possibly help with errands, shopping, and outings for fun times. We know that once she gives comfort keepers a try, she will wonder how she ever got along without them. We even put together a special offer to try us out by taking 20% off all gift certificates purchased this month. You may also want to consider getting her a GrandPad. It's a simple tablet that allows her to connect with family at the push of a button, in addition to her ability to email, receive photos, or even say goodnight to the grandkids by video chat. Just call the Comfort Keeper's office to learn more about all the exciting technology we have to keep your family connected and engaged. This past week was Nurses Week. I want to thank all the nurses out there for the important care you provide in so many different settings. On Monday, the 15th, probably tomorrow, veterans and their family caregivers are invited to a lunch and learn by Julie Downing's Caregiver Support Group. There will be a panel of experts discussing the successful reset therapy for PTSD. The seminar will take place at the Mind Spa Wellness Center on Bee Ridge Road. Today, we're going to discuss and explore the relationship between what you eat and how you feel, how our food affects our mood, and some tips on how to incorporate healthy eating into your life. Here with us today is Paulette Weber. She's an integrative and functional registered dietitian. She believes that many conditions can be resolved or managed or improved with the proper nutritional program. Due to her specialized training, she's able to provide individualized anti-inflammatory nutritional programs which are geared for people who want to resolve their symptoms without medications. Also back on the show is Dr. Fred Harvey, who is the director of the Harvey Center for Integrative Medicine. Dr. Harvey has 27 years of medical experience, maybe more by now, including 16 years in functional and holistic medicine. He's triple board certified in internal medicine, geriatrics, and holistic medicine, and has been a great addition to our show. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks, Michael.
So, if anybody's been watching this show for the last couple of years, they know how connected what we put in our bodies is with how they feel, how it affects inflammation, how that affects the disease process. We've pretty much connected the dots over time here. So tell us a little bit more about, in a different kind of angle, how food is affecting mood.
Well, we are what we eat, basically. Mm-hmm. And food affects our mood in many different ways. Excess nutrition, too many calories can slow us down. Too few calories can slow us down. If we don't have enough calories, we can't build the materials we need to function appropriately. So if there's not enough fat, the brain is mostly fat, we're not going to be thinking appropriately. If we don't have enough of the precursors to the neurochemicals that we communicate with, the neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, we're not going to be able to actually effectively connect the dots in our brain and think appropriately. Thus, our mood and our thoughts are going to be different.
There's been so much study about the body and the mind and food. Obviously, there's a new fad diet every year, but it seems like science is getting more and more focused on reality and how it affects the body. The body's such a complex mechanism, and there's so many things going on. I mean, there has to be this great balance. So from your perspective, Paulette, how do you think it affects mood?
Many different ways. I think there's one of the main ways it affects our mood is through the microbiome. So what we're eating actually interacts with our gut flora, and that can be positive if you're eating things like prebiotic fibers, things like lentils and lima beans and asparagus and fennel. And it can be negative if you're getting something like wheat that's sprayed with glyphosate. That can actually have a lot of negative impact on our microbiome.
Dr. Harvey, we did a whole show on the microbiome, which is the gut and how that is connected with the body. You want to talk about that briefly, and how working with a nutritionist has enhanced your patients' outcomes?
Certainly. The microbiome, as Paulette said, is affected by what we eat. Prebiotics feed good bacteria and help them thrive. Other products like saturated fats and dairy fats will enhance the growth of less desirable species of bacteria in the gut, and these bacteria in their metabolism put off chemicals that we absorb, and these chemicals actually alter our ability to create the dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters. And so by altering the species in the gut, we alter our mood by changing the way we make these chemicals. And so Paulette's approach with food dietary changes and coaching people to not a diet, but a lifestyle change, to look at food differently. Maybe to look at food as information, telling our bodies and our flora and our gut what to do. And when she helps people apply these principles, they really thrive. And it really takes repeated visits with Paulette to have them coached into an understanding of a different lifestyle rather than just reading a book on a diet and following a new fad.
Yeah, I mean, we've been brought up a certain way to eat a certain way, but I think a lot of the information that you've presented over the year is that, you know, when you have this change or lack of the right chemicals in your brain, it potentially causes a disease process. And so when most people have this disease process, they're going to their doctor and they're addressing the symptoms of, typically with a medication of some sort. So how is this a different approach to addressing the disease process?
Well, when you look at the standard conventional medicine approach, if someone has a bad mood, for instance, anxiety would describe someone's worries. It's not really a disease state. It's not actually a specific condition. It's simply the way the person feels. And that can be a result of a lot of different things. And so when we look at each individual, we really need to take into account what is contributing to that mood state. Because it's not really a disease, it's just a state of being, which we can alter very quickly. Because you can see how someone can get very worried suddenly when they're told a specific fact or they see something. But some people just have this vague anxiety that floats in the background all the time, probably because their body is somewhat inflamed. Because the chemicals of inflammation create a sense of stress in our system. We feel like we're under pressure when we have inflammation, and so we might get more anxious or even feel sort of sad and kind of feel maybe like we might be depressed. Again, a non-disease state, a condition of being, not a disease that can be treated with a simple medication like a benzodiazepine like Valium or a serotonin reuptake inhibitor like Prozac. These only cover up the imbalances that are created by the functional difficulties that the body is experiencing.
So what are some examples of foods that might affect this instead of medication?
Lots of foods can do it, and it really is individual. It depends on what the person has going on in their life at that time. You know, if someone isn't eating enough fish and they don't have enough omega-3 fatty acids, they have a deficiency there. They need to fill that in. So it really becomes a game of Clue. Paulette needs to spend a really large amount of time with someone and get a very good, solid diet history, and not just I ate 3 meals a day and they were good square meals. No, we need to know specifically the amounts, the types, how they're prepared, whether they're organic, all kinds of information about the food so we know actually what constituents the person's putting in to build up the system or tear it down.
Gonna go to break, stay with us, we'll be right back. How mood affects your food, or food affects your mood even.
Is Mom really taking her medications?
A Comfort Keeper can ensure that your loved one gets their medications on time, providing peace of mind for families in need of flexible in-home care. Comfort Keepers, let our family take care of yours.
Let's face it, life happens, and the laws change daily. Attorney Joseph Len can help guide you with legal issues you may face while aging. Len Law has helped countless clients in Sarasota and Port Charlotte in assistance with guardianships, Medicaid planning, VA planning, estate planning, wills and trusts, probate, and Social Security disability claims.
I'm elder law attorney Joseph Len. At Len Law, Seniors matter. Your rights matter. And the legacy that you built matters.
The Harvey Center for Integrative Medicine is helping people every day to thrive and live healthy, vital lives. Our integrative approach combines conventional medicine with holistic and innovative therapies to help you achieve optimal function. Are you ready to function at 100% of your ability? Dr. Fred Harvey customizes tools and treatments to achieve optimal wellness at any age.
Hi, I'm Dr. Fred Harvey. Do you want to feel vital, vibrant, and fully energized? If so, call our office to find out how.
Hey, welcome back. I'm here with Dr. Fred Harvey and Paulette Weber, registered dietitian. We were talking about how mood affects food, okay? A really interesting topic, and how a lot of people come to you with various illnesses, and you really have to spend some time digging into what they're eating as a basis for their symptoms and their disease processes, right?
So true.
So what are some of the other things about how, what they're eating is maybe affecting their mood?
So alcohol, that's a really big one. Alcohol is
It is part of the food group, is it not?
Well, people consider it. In fact, back in medieval England, a pint of beer was part of your pay. And so that's why on all English beer glasses there's a pint line and a half pint line, because that was actually money they were getting, because that was food. Think about it. It's grain that rotted, it's calories, and there's sugar and carbs in it, so people actually were considering that part of their food. So if you take alcohol, it's a histamine releasing agent. And so when you ingest alcohol, your body releases histamine in response to that, because it's an irritant. And red wine also contains histamine in it. And histamine is a neurotransmitter. Histamine actually communicates with the body and tells the body to release adrenaline. Adrenaline is your fight or flight hormone. And so if you drink alcohol, you're going to get a rush of adrenaline and feel energized. But if you do it too much adrenaline makes people irritated. So I think everybody's probably witnessed the angry drunk. And so there we have a perfect example of how one food can affect your mood severely. And many others do that. There are many other histamine-containing foods and releasing foods, right, Paulette?
Yes, there are. And gluten actually can affect people's mood also pretty dramatically. It can increase people's anxiety, make them, uneasy, and that can be another big one for people also. Gluten.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like many people are not diagnosed with the sensitivities that they have, because they just can't imagine that their problems are coming from eating pasta or something like that, I would imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are some other examples of food and how it affects people's moods? Do you have any other examples like that?
Well, just another kind of basic example would be changes in blood sugar regulation. Eating something that's high in sugar, high in carbohydrates, and having your blood sugar go up and then drop. And of course, when your blood sugar drops, you get really irritable, and that can severely affect someone's mood. I'm sure everyone has seen children that have been, at a birthday party, and they had, a couple pieces of cake, and they get all excited, and then, 2 hours later, they're having a tantrum, and that's a really good example of how food affects your mood.
And that's, again, adrenaline. Because when the sugar drops, the body puts out adrenaline to bring the sugar back up, and adrenaline makes us irritable. And so that's how hypoglycemia really affects
maybe
mood.
makes them a little hyper for a short period
The
of
sugar
time.
itself makes them hyper, then they crash from that, and then the adrenaline makes them hyper and irritable at the same time. And so, yes, sugar will affect your mood in a couple of ways. Fats can do that too. Everybody knows about falling asleep after a fatty meal. It is sedating for the body. So, yes, there are individual foods that can disrupt us and others that enhance us. I think Paulette brought some foods along that actually are mood enhancers.
Okay, let's
Yes,
take a look at those.
Pull these out here. So a couple
Mood
different
enhancers,
things. Yes,
okay.
mood enhancing foods. We've got green tea, and this is a loose leaf green tea that's organic from Japan. We've got fatty fish with the omega-3 fats. I've got sardines. And of course, salmon. Wild salmon would be another really good option here. I've got saffron. There's some interesting studies about saffron helping with depression, improving depression, particularly in women who have PMS. Can reduce PMS-related depression. Of course, we've got chocolate. Who doesn't love chocolate? And this particular brand, this Alter Eco brand, is not processed with alkali, and it's organic. Of course, it does have a little bit of sugar.
Doesn't the cocoa level pretty important as far as
Yes.
the healthiness of chocolate? Otherwise, people would just be eating milk chocolate all day.
Correct, so you're right. So dark chocolate, you want to have at least 70% cacao, and you want it to be not processed with alkali, so you're getting the most flavonols from your chocolate. So very good point.
Definitely not as sweet as milk chocolate.
Right, right. Then I've got shiitake mushrooms, which is another really good source of B6. We need vitamin B6 to make our neurotransmitters, so that's an important one.
Neurotransmitters help our brain function.
Yes, correct, and help with our mood balance.
Yes, neurotransmitters are the chemicals that we use to communicate between cells.
All those billions of transactions a second going on in our brain that
Exactly.
we don't need to
Right.
control, but we need to make sure are working properly.
Right, and by eating properly, you can support that. So, and then the last thing I have is the, I have two more things. The maca powder. Maca is actually a cruciferous vegetable in the same family as broccoli, and that can be a
just
good mood enhancer.
Put scoops of that in a shake in the morning and don't even taste it.
Right.
Easy way to get your
Well,
veggies or what?
It does have a flavor, so it might not be completely neutral, but you can add some cacao, something to add more flavor. Maybe add some half a banana to your smoothie to add the flavor. And then we've got avocados, and avocados are a good source of monounsaturated fats, that good healthy fat that we need for our brain and for our hormone production.
There seems to be a lot of information out there about eating a certain way with more fats in your diet. Do you want to touch base on that briefly?
Well, it's really important to have enough healthy fats for hormone creation, for our whole body. Our brain is really dependent on the quality of the fat. And actually, I would say our overall health would be determined by the quality of the fat we're eating. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, our cell membranes are all fat. Our brain is 60% fat. Our liver is 60% fat. If we don't have good quality fat, we have poor quality organs.
And yet we've been told fat is bad for the last 10 years.
Actually, more like since 1970 when the cardiology campaign against cholesterol and fat went on. And so we've been tracking the low-fat diet initiatives and have watched America become obese because we dived face first into sugar and carbs and ran away from fats. Isn't it interesting that when you eat the molecule that turns into fat, because your body actually turns carbs into fat when you have too much of it, you get fat? Who would have thought that? Surely not the sugar industry, which put out false advertising for years and created false studies that showed that it's all just fine. It's really nice how they deluded us and led us down a pathway into obesity and heart disease.
Real quickly, we've got to go to break. Is there a good location to read that's more accurate as far as good information about nutrition, like a good website or anything?
For this particular topic, I like just kind of a good go-to as far as nutrition would be the World's Healthiest Food website.
Okay.
There's a lot of good recipes on there, very basic
To
information.
go to break, check out our sponsors. We'll be right back. Things you need to know.
The Harvey Center for Integrative Medicine is helping people every day to thrive and live healthy, vital lives. Our integrative approach combines conventional medicine with holistic and innovative therapies to help you achieve optimal function. Are you ready to function at 100% of your ability? Dr. Fred Harvey customizes tools and treatments to achieve optimal wellness at any age.
Hi, I'm Dr. Fred Harvey. Do you want to feel vital, vibrant, and fully energized? If so, call our office to find out how.
Let's face it, life happens, and the laws change daily. Attorney Joseph Land can help guide you with legal issues you may face while aging. Len Law has helped countless clients in Sarasota and Port Charlotte in assistance with guardianships, Medicaid planning, VA planning, estate planning, wills and trusts, probate, and Social Security disability claims.
I'm elder law attorney Joseph Len. At Len Law, seniors matter. Your rights matter. And the legacy that you built matters.
When a stroke or injury impacts your life, we're here to help you get it back. With our dedicated team of specialists, personalized treatment plans, the most inventive technologies, and a coordinated approach to recovery. This is more than just rehabilitation. This is a higher level of care.
Welcome back. I'm here with Dr. Fred Harvey and Paulette Weber. We're talking about food and how it affects your mood. Obviously, they're very intertwined. So how, there's so much misinformation, and, how do people know if specific foods are affecting their moods? Is there certain tests that you can do?
Well, it's not that simple. We can't pick out a food that's affecting your mood, but we can actually look at some lab tests to see what your overall function looks like. Even some basic lab tests like a complete blood count and a metabolic panel and a lipid test and a vitamin D level and a B12 level. Very simple things can tell us where you are nutritionally on a broad and kind of vague scale. If your blood count shows anemia, it could mean that you're not getting enough iron in your food, or that you're not getting enough B12. Vegetarians and vegans don't get B12 from meat, and B12 is very important for making blood, so if you don't have enough blood, you're going to feel fatigued. That's going to affect your mood. So it's an indirect kind of thing. Vitamin D directly affects mood. People with low vitamin D don't think well and don't feel well. And so just looking at that simple level, even a low B12, people have very bad mood problems. And so those are very simple things to check. A lipid panel can tell us whether or not there's a problem with fat and or sugar metabolism. A metabolic panel can tell us if there are glucose issues and other things. What else do you see on the simple tests like that, Paulette?
Well, as far as simple tests,
Yeah, if you don't see anything, how about more expanded tests? Do you like something called the NutriEval that we do in the office?
Yes, the NutriEval is a good one, but just the food sensitivity test. That's pretty direct as far as what food.
Oh, that too, yes.
Yeah, what food may be actually contributing to someone's mood issues and their overall health issues.
So if you're eating something that your body doesn't like, you may not necessarily know it, but it may manifest itself in different ways. Is that right?
Correct.
True. Because anytime you have a food that your immune system is reacting to, you're going to create inflammation, and inflammation is going to disrupt your mood. A good example of that is going back to depression. There are criteria of symptoms that help diagnose depression. So if you're looking at an individual and you have out of context, you see that the person is withdrawn from social interaction and that they're irritable and that they don't have an appetite. These are all symptoms of depression. In the classic DSM-5 manual, it will tell you these are symptoms of depression. But since I don't believe that depression is actually a disease and other things cause these symptoms, would you give Prozac to somebody who has those three symptoms plus a fever of 103, a racking cough, and body aches all over? You can see that that's the flu. And the flu has a similar crossover pattern of symptoms with depression. I wouldn't treat the flu with Prozac. I wouldn't treat depression with Prozac either because there's other ways to deal with that. But in reality, we're looking at how food can react mood. So if you have inflammation caused like a flu from eating, say, wheat gluten causes your body just to go into a flu-like eruption of inflammation, you're going to have a bad mood. So a food sensitivity test is great. A NutriEval looks at omega-3 balance, all your fatty acid balance. It looks at your amino acid balance. Amino acids are the protein structures of the body, which help uphold everything and make enzymes that make process happen. The fatty acids are 60% of the brain. If we have an imbalance there, then we're going to have bad mood and bad thought.
How about for kids that, they're so picky in what they eat, and they're not necessarily getting the vegetables and so forth? I know I struggle with that with my kids at times. Is there good supplementations that can help with people that really maybe don't want to eat all the things they need to?
The bottom line is foundational food is really important. If you can get it in, great. If you can't, supplementation is really important. What do you think?
I agree with that. I would work with people to change their diet first, and if they are unable to or maybe unwilling to, then supplementation is helpful and maybe really helpful with the mood, and that may correct the issue.
Obviously this is a great collaboration because you're uncovering the problem and then you're helping people change their attitude about and why they need to do some of these things. Especially like even with people that say, I don't like the taste of that, this or that. You can help people with menus and things like that, so that they can make some of these things in a different way that they've never experienced, that might make it much more palatable for them to eat.
Absolutely, yes. And with kids in particular, since you brought that up, sometimes, you know, getting them involved is very helpful, and they're more likely to eat something that they help make than something that's put in front of them, especially if it's, you know, vegetable. Yeah.
So, Fred, you're always putting yourself out there and making yourself accessible to the public and giving people great information, and you have this great series called Ask the Doc, and I think you've got a seminar coming up on Wednesday the 17th. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We're going to be at the State Street Eatery, and we're going to have a specially designed meal, rather light bites, but very healthful, very mood enhancing, filled with good prebiotic fibers and mood enhancing foods. Like, there's going to be some turkey on the menu. Turkey has a lot of tryptophan in it, and tryptophan is the precursor to serotonin, the mood harmonizer. And so we can do things with just basic diet like that give us the raw materials we need to build up the structures that support our good mood and good thinking.
So that's going to be at State Street Eating House next Wednesday at 6 p.m. People can call your office and get registered for that.
Yes, we need to make reservations through the office, not through State Street.
Yeah,
and
okay.
We're hoping to have a large group of people there to talk about food and mood and enjoy some really good food at a great Sarasota eating establishment.
And they get to ask you all the questions that people have, millions of questions about health and food, and you'll be there, Paulette, and answering questions, and it's just an amazing opportunity, I think, for people to really hone in and change, you know, maybe a path that they're going down that they're not, it's not working for them. Can you give us some other examples of people that you've worked with, some of the issues that they've had, and how working with them has changed, you know, their health?
Sure. One woman came to mind right away. She was very overweight and wanted to lose weight. And the first thing we really did is look at the quality of the food that she was eating. And she also had a history of depression. And she got to the point where she said she didn't want to live anymore. She had gotten to that point. And with the first session, we just worked on cleaning up her diet, getting rid of the sodas and some of the refined carbohydrates, the granola bars, and the sugar. And after 2 sessions, she's lost, I think, 12 pounds. But the more important thing, really, probably, is that she feels better. I mean, she feels like she wants to get out of bed every day.
I'm sure you see that a lot. That's a great success story. Come check us. Thanks for watching. We got to go. Get to the seminar next week. Give Dr. Fred and Paulette a call if you want to change your mood. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week on Thriving on the Suncoast.
Comfort keepers, 'cause there's no place quite like home. Call Comfort Keepers.